Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So I'm sitting here. Yesterday I had to go over all my answers and I had to study it up because I didn't know combination as well as I thought I did. Combination is a huge one you got to know. Combination, air brakes, and general knowledge. They're separate tests, but they all gonna go together. So again, I'm gonna go over my answers. So we went over it yesterday and we did it. Question 2. Cutoff is at 125. If it gets to 100, it starts pumping again. And I'm talking about the air tanks. The air tanks. So we had to put that over here. Air, air compressor governor. Around 125 per square inch, which is PSI. The governor stops the compressor from pumping air. When the tank falls to the cut-in pressure around 100 PSI, the governor allows the compressor to start pumping again. And then it says air tank drains. There's manual and there's automatic. Alcohol evaporators. Some air brakes have an alcohol evaporator to put in the system. This helps reduce the risk of ice in brakes, valves, and other parts during cold weather. Ice inside the system can make the brakes stop working. Safety valve. The valve is usually set to open at 150 psi. In the safety valve release, something is wrong. Had the fault fixed by a mechanic. The brake pedal. You push on the brakes by pushing down the brake pedal. It's also called the foot valve or the treadle valve. Push the pedal down harder, applies more air pressure. Letting up on the brake pedal reduces the air pressure, releasing the brakes. Releasing the brakes lets some compressed air go out of the system so the air pressure in the tanks is reduced. It must be made up by air compressor. Pressing and releasing the brake pedal unnecessarily can let out air faster than the compressor can press it. If the brakes get too low, the brakes won't work. S-cam. S-cam is air pressure pushes the rod out, moving the slack adjusters, thus twisting the brake camshaft. This turns the S-cam, so-called its shape. It's called it like that because it's a S. The S-cam forces the brake shoes away from one another and presses them against the insides of the brake drum. When you release the brake pedal, the S-cam rotates back and a spring pulls the brake shoe away from the drum. Wedge brakes. Disc brakes, supply pressure gauges, application pressure gauges. This gauge shows how much air pressure you apply to the brakes. Application pressure. So cool. This gauge is not on all vehicles. Increasing. Oh. Drivers behind you must be warned when you put your brakes on. The air brake system does this with an electric switch that works with air pressure. Front brake limiting valve. So you got a lot of things that tells you the answers and stuff, but it doesn't matter. You still got to study, from my understanding. Beach. Front brake limiting valve. Some motor vehicles have been made before 1975, have a front brake limiting valve and a control in the cab. The cab control. Oh, yeah. This is step 5 during walk around inspection. Check the slack adjusters. I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna start doing some of my tests, doing some of my the questions on here because man, yesterday I was fucking it up. I was so angry. Now I have all the answers right here too because I did my studying, but I don't know what happens. Lose a damn mind. So I'm just going to go over this right here. And it says why must air tanks be drained? Compressed air usually has some water and oil in it. What is the supply pressure gauge used for? Measures the air pressure in the air tanks and indicates how well the air system is working. All vehicles with air brakes must have a low air pressure signal. True or false? True. What are spring brakes? Type of brake system used on trucks and other vehicles to provide emergency and parking braking when pressure is lost. Front wheel brakes are good under all conditions. True. How do you know if your vehicle is equipped with anti-lock brakes? Look for dashboard lights labels. Dashboard lights labels that light up when you start the truck. That's what it said to do. You could check for what was that shit at? There's a little lamp. There's a little lamp around the back of it. Where was my ABS? Spring brakes, parking brakes, interlock. Also says interlock. Many commercial dates check the certification label at the date of manufacture to determine if your equipment is equipped with the ABS, a computerized system that your wheels from locking up from hard braking. It's that fucking grinding feeling whenever you fucking are working out. So to me, that whenever you have ABS, your pedal feels like it grinds. Let's see. Let's see if I'm right. Test 14. What is dual air brakes? A dual air brake system has two separate air brake systems, which is a single set of brake controls. What are slack adjusters? Mechanical links between the brake chamber pushes rods and the camshaft on camshaft type brakes. I'm not sure if that's right or not. Nice show. Haystack. What is 3? Park on level ground, check the wheels, turn off the parking brakes so that you can move the slack adjusters. Use gloves, pull hard on slack adjuster that you can reach. If a slack adjuster moves more than about 1 inch, the push rod attached to it probably needs adjustment. Today, I'm not going to be able to do no recording. My Facebook is messing up. And right now, the only reason I'm able to record is because I'm on my laptop. I can't take my laptop with me. I probably could. But he's going to be like, what are you doing? So it's going to be about your recorded things. I say, yay. Wonder why you don't want to show that I do things. Is it that you don't want to show that I do things? Maybe. Too busy talking shit. Did you hear the fucking weather? Let's see.
Central Texas. Wind hill maybe eventually a tornado or two. But notice as we head through the day, we shift our focus to the heaviest rain around the Mississippi Delta region. And we could end up seeing a few inches of rain there. So we have a slight risk of flash flooding. And here's a look at the rainfall through 7 p.m. on Friday. So that's over an inch there in New Orleans, over an inch in Houston, Austin, Dallas picking up another quarter of an inch. Things do begin to improve and dry out, and heat moving in going into early next week.
It's been a busy morning because we've all had the administration revoking visas for Chinese students and plan to enhance scrutiny of all future visa applications from China and Hong Kong. Let's bring our China correspondent Min Ming Lo in Hong Kong. You know, this sort of started with the Harvard story, and there's been concerns that it's going to be broadened to other countries and other types of visas. And now we're hearing a specific targeting of visas from applicants from Hong Kong and Greater China.
Yes, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio posted on X essentially saying that China will, quote, the US rather, will aggressively revoke student visas from China and also revise future visa criteria for people from Hong Kong and China. And they're particularly targeting students with ties to the Chinese Communist Party or that are studying critical subjects. And you can imagine this is something that Chinese parents and students will be very closely watching. Huge impact, both in terms of economic impact and cultural impact. Concerns around the soft power of the US. Because bear in mind, many of these students, they typically pay full fees to US universities, a source of revenue for these universities that are then able to subsidize or provide financial aid to US citizens. And the existing visa procedure is already very tight. Students are being screened for not just their academic credentials, but also their financial capabilities, their intent to return to their home country after completing their studies. And it'll be interesting to see whether the federal court will be able to intervene as well, because with the Harvard case, the court was able to temporarily block the US attempt to prevent Harvard from accepting or enrolling international applicants, at least temporarily. So what happens next, definitely something to watch. And many of these students last year, in the last academic year, the US actually admitted over 1 million of these foreign students. India is a primary source and China is the second. Many of them are there to study things like science, tech, engineering, and math.
In Gaza tonight, there are new images of the desperation coming in this evening. Families trying to feed their children, storming a UN warehouse for much needed food. The crush of people there turning deadly. Here's James Longman.
Chaos is spreading in Gaza tonight as another aid center is overrun by hundreds of starving Palestinians, tearing down the walls of this World Food Programme warehouse where supplies have been stuck while Israel carries out what it calls security checks. The WFP says this desperate fight for survival has left at least 2 dead and dozens injured. The despair reached a new climax Tuesday when this new aid distribution center in Rafah was overwhelmed, a facility run by the controversial Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is an operation backed by the US and Israel and employs private armed security contractors with support from Israeli troops. The UN says it violates humanitarian principles. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the system is in place to stop Hamas from stealing aid. Palestinian ambassador to the UN, Riyad Mansour, was overcome with emotion in a speech today, saying children there are dying of starvation.
David, growing international pressure on Israel.
I don't know.
Now mean that a ceasefire.
So I was sitting there thinking, because that guy's going to try to get into more and more stuff to where he can teach us better. What if he was to get on the meta? Yeah, the meta site, the 3D shit or whatever, It start teaching students that way too. Like you can attend his class. Because they have all kinds of shit on there. And you get on there and you can attend his class. They even have a way where you could pay to attend from there. And you can get all your shit in. That'd be cool, huh? Oh, what the fuck?
The Justice, we're taking a look at one of New Orleans' most common and frustrating crimes. For this case, we head to the Gentilly Terrace area here to the 2600 block of Wisteria Street, where police are trying to track down a tentative trio of trouble. According to police, the crime happened around 4 in the afternoon on Thursday, May 15th. Security camera footage shows 3 young people walking down the street when they veered toward a parked car. But then they get nervous and walk away, only to regain their courage and approach the car again, and then shatter one of the door windows. But then they retreat again, only to return moments later and then run away again. And finally, all 3 of them return to the car. One gets inside and they finish their job. And you can help police catch them, call Crime Stoppers. So far, more than 475 people have been booked after their cases rolled on the wheel of justice. And police did not say that anything was missing from inside that car. Instead, they say the steering column was defeated, so the trio tried unsuccessfully to steal the entire car.
NASCAR on Prime at Nashville Super Speedway. Music City, baby. Let me play you my favorite song.